Hey everyone, the List Bro here, back for another video today. Um, if you're tuning in now, I made a video earlier about just ranking albums and singles from female artists of the 2000s, and that kind of got me in a nostalgic mood and got me thinking about um, some childhood shows. Now, I'm gonna say around 2012, I kind of completely tuned out of the like kid shows on Disney, Nickelodeon, and Cartoon Network, maybe even some time before that. So this seems like a good period to cover for me. I may have to do this again at some point. I had a hard time finding tier lists that had all the shows. Even this one, there's still something missing, but some shows missing. But this is gonna have to do for now. So, all right, let's take a look at what we got here. Okay, Adventure Time. This started in 2010, if I'm not mistaken. It's not a show I really watched much. I never went out of my way to watch it. From what I've seen of it, it seems okay. I'm gonna put it in D tier. I don't really know enough about it, and I get the feeling I wouldn't be into it anyway. Ant Farm is F tier for sure. I think this started in 2011, and let me tell you, this was the show that made me realize either Disney Channel fucking sucks now or I'm like getting older and am growing out of this shit. So yeah, I mean the premise of the show, it could work, I guess, but like they executed it very poorly. The acting's bad. It just I don't really remember specifics about it. I just remember it sucks, and this was the best way I can phrase it is to say that this is what made me realize, like, I think I'm either getting too old for this or something's really changed with these kids' networks. Um, I have no idea what this is, so this is going in never seen. Um, Austin and Ally is decent to kind of good. I will give it C tier. I'm reluctant to give it B tier because a lot of the times the plot seemed kind of pointless and like it went nowhere. Kind of comparable to a show like Seinfeld, but at least on a show like that, it's kind of meant to be about nothing. But a lot of the episodes seemed really purposeless and either centered around Dez's antics or that other girl, I forget her name, but whatever her problems were, it really should have been more focused on Austin and Ally and not those two side characters because they were both kind of annoying. Um, the actress who plays Ally was great and was severely underutilized on this show. Um, in theory, it should have been great. Now, this came around the same time as Ant Farm, and I actually watched this later on, so I only saw like a few episodes of it when I was a kid. Back in like 2016 when I was really bored and didn't have a series, I'm like, oh, even though it was a Disney show, I'm like, I remember this seeming vaguely interesting. So I didn't watch like every episode ever, but I tuned into some of it. Um, and it had its good moments, but a lot of the time it was just kind of meandering and boring. All right, Ben 10. Um, I didn't watch a whole lot of Ben 10 growing up. The advertising for it was relentless, and it seemed like every year they were coming out with like a sequel. Like I know there was Ben 10 Alien Force, and then anything after that, I don't. They had like five different names for the show over time. I'm gonna put it like maybe a little higher than Adventure Time, just because I didn't really care about it. Um, and I like supernatural shows or shows with like fantasy violence. I liked a lot of that, but this didn't really pique my interest for some reason. it might be good. I haven't seen a lot of it. I saw some of Ben 10 Alien Force because I was glued to the TV on Friday nights to watch Star Wars: The Clone Wars. And no, that is not on this list for some reason, but it would be an S tier if it was. Remember that thing they had, the whole You Are Here block? It had like the Secret Saturdays and some crappy Batman show. Well, Ben 10 Alien Force was on, so for a little bit I tried to tune in and I didn't really care about it, so yeah. Alright, SpongeBob SquarePants is I'm reluctant to put it in S because it was really only good for a short period of time. Like after the movie, it was still good for a while, but if we're talking just like in the 2000s, then you know what? I'll give SpongeBob an S tier because I guess that's what we're basing this on. I can't base it on recent episodes. It's obviously very creative. I mean, what's to say about it? I mean, Patrick Star is fucking hilarious. My favorite character for sure. Every character has their moments, and it's just at one time when the show was airing, people probably thought that it was like the equivalent of like an Adult Swim show that wouldn't last long. Something in a similar vein of like Squidbillies, even though Squidbillies has lasted a long time. Just in terms of its sheer stupidity, but it somehow, you know, resonated with kids. So I don't know. I watched a lot of SpongeBob back then. So yeah, I'll put it in S. Brain Surge. I remember it vaguely. I did watch some episodes. I think my brother was more into it than I am. Still, it's kind of a cool concept. A low C tier. Big Time Rush is a fucking joke. We'll put it ahead of Ant Farm. I've seen like 2 or 3 full episodes. I remember like in 2010. Nick started going really downhill around this time. I gave up on Nick before I did Disney Channel. I mean, this is just some boy band garbage. I mean, I could sit here all day and insult it, but I don't even need to. I think everyone already knows the deal here. Now, this show, I recall the title, but I don't know anything about it. It's probably really dumb, but I'm just gonna put it never seen because maybe I did, but I don't. I've seen this title, this Brighton Skinners or some shit. I've never seen this. Drake and Josh is S tier, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I mean, I don't know everything else that's on here yet. This may be the best show on the list. We'll have to see, but like, I mean, it could have continued too. They kind of ended when they were going strong. I mean, Josh steals the show. The guy is fucking great. His comedic timing was perfect, and I mean, you know, a lot of the situations on the show and the storylines were kind of more relatable than some of the other ones. And it's like it's one show you can watch as an adult and not feel like secondhand embarrassment or like it's something that's insulting your intelligence. It's actually really enjoyable. Some of the side characters are hilarious too, like Crazy Steve, even though we don't see much of him. So yeah, definitely an iconic show. I think everyone knows that at this point. Ed, and Eddie. I'll put it in low C tier. I thought this was more like 90s or early 2000s. I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of stupid slapstick humor. Nothing great, but kind of entertaining, I guess. I don't know. Figure it out. It probably sucks. Anything I don't know probably came after my time. Fish hooks. I barely watched this. This started around the time I started losing interest. It's not horrible. I'll probably put it in D tier. I had a sister who really liked it. I remember that dumb theme song which just goes na na na. Na." So, if I remember correctly, the point of it is these fish that are like in schools. It's just kind of silly. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion. Flapjack. I never watched it. I saw commercials for it all the time. Is it good? I don't know. I hear Chowder was good. I didn't watch that either. Good Luck Charlie, B tier, it's solid. There's a few problems with it. I really hate that fucking little boy. He wasn't a little boy the whole time. He ended up becoming like a teenager at some point, but oh my god, he was fucking annoying. Hated every scene he was in. Um, I don't know, the parents were kind of funny. Um, I don't really care for Jason Doll either. It's actually not even that good if I think about it. This was probably the last show that was on when I was actively watching. Bridget Menlo's great. She steals the show. That's pretty much the only reason it's in B tier. Um, it's a little goofy at certain points. There's kind of a charm to it, though. I don't know. Like a low B tier, I feel is a good spot for it. I hate Back to the Barnyard with a fucking passion. That is F tier, although it is not as bad as Ant Farm. Oh my god, this show blows. Dude, the movie wasn't bad enough. So, uh, I remember when I was a little kid and, we lost power, and, I don't know, it might have been a storm or something, and, uh, we had a shitty little computer, and we had the DVD of Barnyard for some reason, and we put it in, and, like, when there's a power outage, there's nothing to do, and I was still bored out of my mind. This shit fucking sucks. I mean, it's just it's lame. Even as a kid, I thought it was just dumb as fuck. I mean, and the theme song is horrendous. It's just oh, and then thinking about it now, there's just some, like, characters like a human, he's like a brat or something, and he just goes, "Ha, ha." What is this shit? Gravity Falls. I hear it's good. I hear it's actually kind of adult oriented. I'm not 100% sure about it, but I've seen it's gotten a lot of good reviews, but it was after my time for sure. I think it started in 2012 and I had 1.5 feet out the door, I'd say, by that point. Actually, in 2012, I don't think I was even watching anymore. Kicking It, I've seen the title, but I don't know anything about it. Never seen it. Same with How to Rock. Whole fucking idea. iCarly. For its original run, give it S tier. It's not as good as Drake and Josh, but the revival, I mean, it's not really good, to be honest, but its original run. Now, the number one problem with it is the way, like, Sam's written. I mean, I think, Jeanette McCurdy's a fine actress and whatever, but, like, as far as the characterization, it was, like, really over the top. Like, people don't act that way, and people who do are either locked up somewhere or at the very least have a difficult time maintaining friends. So it's not even as much her characterization, it's everyone's reactions to her and how they just give her chance after chance and accept her, like, erratic and aggressive behavior. But aside from that, you know, Spencer steals the show. He's a fucking riot. I mean, Jerry Trainer is such a talented actor. Freddie really won me over too. The actress who plays him, Nathan Kress. Gibby ended up having a more prominent role over time, and he definitely added some flair to the show. Um, Even Miranda Cosgrove had her moments of being funny, even though her character came across as very hypocritical sometimes. I mean, it was a unique concept for its time. I don't want to say it was in the infancy of the internet because the internet was definitely a thing, but it was not as prevalent in our society as it is now. So, um, you know, it was on for a long time, and it didn't really suck at any point. I mean, the last 2 seasons, I think they could have ended it a little earlier. It was but a solid 3 or 4 season run where the show's consistently good, you can't complain with that. So, yeah, S tier for iCarly. I'm in the band. Oh, I remember this shit. This is one of the last, like, shows I watched. It was on Disney XD. Remember that? Is that still a thing? I have no idea. This is going in D tier. Now I'm a guitarist. I've been playing guitar for 10 years, so I didn't play guitar when I watched it, but you know, as someone who's loved music from a young age, you would think this show would be perfect for me. And even though I didn't play guitar until after this show aired, um, it was in the back of my mind a dream of like being a rock star one day. So you would think that I would find this show to be the coolest thing ever. Well, it's really not. First of all, the writing is terrible. I understand that these are kids shows and that a lot of it is just like generic crap for kids and shit, but like this takes the cake. The acting is piss poor. The stories are like either really convoluted or just go nowhere, kind of like with Austin and Ally. And they never this really bothered me. The main character on the show, who I guess was serviceable, and the girl lead, who I can't really call her a lead because she was barely in it, they never hinted any like romance, which I think was a missed opportunity and could have made the show a little more interesting. They made that character just a sideshow and like a crazy stalker, and that works in certain situations, but it added nothing to the story. They did nothing with her. She was just in the background, acting retarded half the time. I don't know what purpose that served. So if you're wondering why I have such a strong opinion on the show, it's because for at least the first season, I watched every episode. I don't know why. I mean, I was like a 10-year-old or something, but like, oh my god. There was one episode. So I haven't even talked about the fucking guys in the band who are like in their 40s, and they're supposed to be funny, but they're just cringy and not in a humorous way, just more like in I don't want to watch this shit kind of way. Especially that one blonde guy. I don't know what the fuck the deal is with that guy. There was one episode I remember, wasn't he like he was hanging in the air and people were hitting him like he's a pinata? Like it felt so dumb for a show that was about a kid who got the opportunity to join his favorite band. It could have been a lot more cutting edge, and I understand it's Disney, but like this is really bullshit, some of the storylines, and I was even thinking this as a little kid. So I don't know. It lasted 2 seasons. It was a joke. There was a lot of hype behind it. Or at least I was excited for it, and it just ended up being piss. So with that, I'm in the band rant being over. Let's move on to Johnny Test. I'm gonna give it a C. It was on. You can ask anyone who was living, or was like a little kid, anyone who's my age who was living during that time. This show was on every second. Every second. I mean, Cartoon Network, whenever there wasn't a new episode airing or like a movie or something, it was Johnny Test. I remember vaguely being like an 8 or 9 year old, and there was like a Johnny Test marathon. I'm like, oh, I'm excited. This is gonna be fun. Let's check out some Johnny Test. But then there was a Johnny marathon a few days later, and a few days, and the cycle just repeated. And like, it's not like now where who gives a fuck what's on cable TV, but back then that's all we had. Yes, there was YouTube, but things weren't as accessible as they were now, so it was really frustrating when you wanted to watch cartoons and all that was on was Johnny Test. So that might ruin it a little bit. The show itself, it's decent. I like the dog. Johnny himself is kind of annoying, even though he's voiced by the legendary James Arnold Taylor, who does the greatest Obi-Wan impression you could ever ask for. Um, and then the sisters are kind of annoying. I don't know. It's kind of an average show that was really overexposed. Jonas, I would put it in F, but that really diminishes how much these shows in F really suck. So, uh, I think the only solution here is to add a new column because, I mean, it's worse than D tier. So, this is going to be suck category from now on. Therefore, Jonas is in F. And you know what? We'll put I'm in the band in F as well because that really was not good. But Jonas, the first season was not good, but it was a little more tolerable. That Jonas LA shit, I gave up on that after like 5 episodes. I think their music kind of sucks. I even thought that as a kid, and I just made a video like not even an hour ago about like artists from that time, you know, in the Disney era, artists like Ali and AJ and Demi Lovato, and they're all good. Jonas Brothers are not in that category. They fucking suck. The acting was bad. It's all just bad. And the way I look at it, I understand, as a 23-year-old man, it's more difficult to rank these shows objectively because they're kid shows. They're all dumb for the most part. But if I thought it was dumb as like a 9-year-old, you got fucking problems with your show. You know what I'm saying? So Jonas, I never took seriously. I always thought it sucked, and they aired it way too often. Just Jordan. I vaguely remember this, but I don't really know enough about it to properly rank it. I don't remember really enjoying it. I guess I don't really have an opinion. Kick Butowski, I saw commercials for this all the time, but I never really watched Disney XD with the exception of that stupid show I'm in the band, which I regret. Kid and Cat, I don't know what this is. The Kung Fu Panda had a show. I know it was a movie. I have no idea. Kung Fu Panda's kind of dumb though. Wow, I don't know a lot of these. A lot of these must have come after I stopped watching. I don't know what this is. Liv and Maddie I've heard of, never seen it. Don't know anything about it. Fairly Odd Parents, it's like a C tier. The characters are kind of loud and obnoxious and annoying, but it was always there. It was a classic Nickelodeon staple. It was on every second too, kind of like Johnny Test. Maybe not to that degree. I really like the guy that said Fairly Odd Parents. I forget his name now, but he was fucking funny. This was kind of ruined by the fact my sister was obsessed with it. So I don't know. It's not great. It's okay. It's memorable at least. The Mighty Bee, I remember this shit. It's not good. It's F tier. I mean, just look at that main character. Who would want to watch a show with that person as the main character? My Babysitter's a Vampire. I've never seen it. Well, okay, I remember seeing advertisements for it. So it must have started right around when I was like tuning out of whatever network it was on. But just the title of it sounds really retarded. So it would probably be in this category if I ever watched it. Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide was a little before my time, believe it or not. Or like, well, I mean, it was on, but I was like a 5-year-old. I put it in B tier. I mostly saw like reruns. I love Lindsay Shaw. She was also great in another show called 10 Things I Hate About You. And she was like in a movie I saw. She's like kind of low key a talented actress. It's an interesting concept. Um, it's unique. It's kind of when Nickelodeon was good, when it had like Drake and Josh, and even like Zoe 101 was decent. Which is that even on this list? They missed a few shows, but yeah, Ned's Declassified. I got nothing wrong with it. It wasn't like a favorite, but I really respect it. It seems like it was well written. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I've never really given a fuck about, but I haven't watched enough to have too much of an opinion. Lego Ninjago, I never watched that. I think that was after my time. Pair of Kings, I saw commercials for it, but never watched it, so it goes here. The Penguins of Madagascar are atrocious, and they're getting their own category. They are literally the worst thing ever. So they go here. Just the amount of times they would air this show. Like, okay, Madagascar, those were all right movies. I think they kind of milked that franchise too. But did we have to have a fucking show about the penguins? Really? And they were so aggravating and annoying. Like, it's worse than Barnyard. At least Barnyard I can kind of laugh at. Big Time Rush I can kind of laugh at. Ant Farm I can make fun of how shit it is. This show, there's nothing I can't even laugh at it. It just sucks so bad. It almost depresses me. I'm getting like a little PTSD thinking about when it was on. Is this the guy from Jimmy Neutron? Must be some sort of sequel. I never saw it. What's this? I know I've seen this before. Is that Regular Show? I kind of fuck with Regular Show. I'll put it in B tier. It was in that weird period with like Adventure Time and Uncle Grandpa, where Cartoon Network seemed like it was going to get good again, but then it didn't. So yeah, Regular Show's good. It's really unique. I mean, I've never seen a show like it, so I got to give it credit. This show I've seen in passing, but not enough to rank it. No idea what this is. Sam and Cat. It's not as bad as some of these other shows. I'll put it in low D tier. Ariana Grande's kind of funny in it. I mean, it's nothing I ever took seriously. I was long. This came out in 2013. The only reason I watched this because I had like friends my age that were still like watching it, and I would catch it once in a while, and I thought it was dumb, but not like offensively dumb. So I don't know. D tier is where I'm putting it. Scooby Doo. It's difficult to rank Scooby Doo with all of these because it's just one of those things that's like always there. Same with like Tom and Jerry. I'm not gonna rank that. Shake It Up sucks. That's going in the suck category. I understand that Bella Thorne and Zendaya went on to have fruitful careers for themselves. This was an unfortunate start for them. I don't know if some people like it. I certainly didn't. This, along with Ant Farm, is one of the shows that made me question even watching these fucking networks anymore. If Ant Farm was what made me question it, So Random was the final nail in the coffin. Fucking trash. I mean, it became obvious how reliant the show was on Demi Lovato, and it became something completely different. It just became like about sketches or dumb shit like that. It really wasn't funny anymore. Sunny with a Chance was all right. Put it in C tier. I remember it vaguely, or not. I shouldn't say vaguely. I remember it quite clearly, actually, especially the first season, because when I was a kid, I'm not gonna lie, I had me a little crush on Demi Lovato. So anything she was in or any music I paid close attention to. And I don't know, like, the plot of the show is kind of contrived. It kind of felt like I've been there, done that sort of thing, where I had seen similar stuff. Like, they reused a lot of stuff that they were already doing with Hannah Montana. Um, the two kids, I think, don't ask me how I remember this, but their names were Nico and Grady. They were really fucking annoying. Some of the stuff between Sonny and that other dude who was in another acting company or something, that was mildly intriguing, but it was a pretty run-of-the-mill show. It didn't last long. I mean, it's better than this shit. I don't know if you can see my cursor. Dog with a Blog, I watched one episode of it with my brother because he was still into Disney at that point, and it just made me thankful that I didn't watch. So even though I've only seen one episode, I think it's fair to say it sucks, and it's going in the suck category for that. Sweet. I don't see Hannah Montana on this list. If it was, I would put it in B tier. It was, it was. I didn't really like Miley Cyrus on the show, to be honest, but like Jackson was fucking funny. The father was funny. Even Emily Osment was. So, anyways, Sweet Life on Deck. This is not Zach and Cody. This is on Deck. I'm gonna put it in A tier. I understand it kind of got bad reception, and it did get like not good toward the end. I think the first season was solid. Debbie Ryan was a decent replacement for Ashley Tisdale, but nowhere near the charisma or star power or conviction in her acting. So for me, Zach was the best part of this whole franchise. I mean, I just thought he was funny and witty and kind of saved the show, to be honest. Cody's a little fucking bitch, and understand, I know it's just a show. I'm just saying in terms of the characters. Mr. Mosby's fucking hilarious. They did a decent job intertwining London with the storylines. Maybe not as much as in the previous show. That's actually some really good character development for both Zach and Cody. Like, the whole Cody and Bailey relationship, I never gave a fuck about. And it was just the centerpiece of the show for too long. And that whole episode where they're in Paris and they broke up, I really couldn't give a fuck less. All of that was stupid. So shit like that is what prevents this from being an S tier. But I mean, any storyline with Zach was usually pretty good. When he found that girl, I think her name was Maya, it showed he didn't want to just be like a ladies' man anymore. And he actually cared about somebody. So that was good character growth. It felt natural and stuff. The graduation episode was really good I think seasons 1 and 3 were good. Season 2, I kind of tuned out. It wasn't really good. I don't know what it was, but a lot of the storylines felt pointless in that one. So this is one show I watched pretty intently. Basically, when it ended, I think it ended in like 2011. After that, that was the end of me watching Disney for the most part. Like, I stuck around that summer and witnessed Ant Farm. Oh, I don't think Jesse's on this list, but if it were, it would probably be an F. It really wasn't good. Debbie Ryan's okay, but everything else about it was trash. So anyways, how many more of these do we got? Looney Tunes, kind of the same thing as Scooby-Doo and Tom and Jerry. I'm not going to rank it. It's a really weird fucking tier list. I kind of wish I found something different. Right off the bat, Zeke and Luther, I never saw. I saw ads for it. It looked fucking retarded, so put it here. Naked Brothers Band was so dumb. That's going in suck category. I'm not even talking about that. Nice fucking band name, by the way. let's just get rid of the shows that I've never seen, or I don't know about this. Jerry Trainers is in this show. I didn't see it though. It's probably good. Anything he's in. Tough Puppy. I remember this vaguely. Jerry Trainer was the voice, but I don't remember it enough to rank really. Um, True Jackson VP. I didn't like it. It's not terrible. I'm gonna put it in D tier ahead of Simon Cat. It's not as dumb. It was surprisingly sophisticated for a kid show, and maybe that's why I was just utterly bored of it. I didn't really care at all. It seemed out of place. It seemed more like a show that should have been on uh ABC Family or something. I don't know. It wasn't really interesting, but it's not like offensively bad, you know. I never really got into Victorious, which is surprising because um as a boy, I loved me some Victoria Justice. I watched it here and there. I didn't really keep up with it too much. The most I know about it is that it was intertwined with a iCarly storyline. Um, it's something I'm not opposed to going back to and seeing if it's any good. Because honest to God, I've seen maybe like 5 episodes ever in passing. It very much, from what I recall, had that like Zoe 101 feel. It might have been a little watered down. I'm not sure. I hear it has a bad ending though, or like a non-conclusive ending. So that always sucks when that happens. This show might be better than I'm giving it credit for. I don't really remember fucking with it too much. All right, we saved these ones for last. Let's just get Sweet Life of Zach and Cody out of the way. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna put it in S tier. Honestly, it was a defining show of my childhood. It's better than On Deck, not by a large margin, because I think On Deck was still pretty decent. But Slive of Zach and Cody, this is where it all started, and um, I don't know, the storylines were better. The hotel setting was really unique. I actually really liked the mom on it, and she was a prominent part of the show. Um, she had a good character and stuff, and had a lot of funny and witty remarks. Ashley Tisdale stole the show a lot of the time. One thing I thought was dumb is that they kind of made her a loser, like, and I don't mean just because like she worked at the hotel, but they just kind of portrayed her as someone who was like down on her luck, and that's just not realistic at all. I mean, Ashley Tisdale is a beautiful woman and like obviously very intelligent and that sort of thing and full of personality. It's just it's difficult to believe that she would be portrayed in that fashion. It's so that I didn't really find realistic, but still her acting was good on the show, and Mr. Mosby's fucking great too. So any of Zach's antics I found hilarious. So yeah, good show for sure. Oh, another thing about Zach and Cody, their father, who's only in like 4 or 5 episodes, the guy's a riot. Any episode he was in was great. Um, let's talk about Wizards of Waverly Place. I don't think it's a stretch to put it in S tier. In fact, I'm gonna put it right behind Drake and Josh. This was probably my favorite Disney show. Um, my only complaint about it is Max is kind of annoying. I mean, tolerable, especially as he got older, but I could have done without him. David Henry felt really relatable and was good in his role. The storyline with him and Bridget Mendler, who went on to Good Luck Charlie, was actually really convincing. They had great chemistry together. It felt like those two were in love, so that's good to see. This show lasted until about 2012, and like I said, I stopped watching Disney Channel around 2011. So I to this day I haven't seen the finale. I know how it ends. I've read about it and people have told me about it, but like um I Shit, where was I going with this? This is a great show, though. So the first 2 seasons in particular were really good. I remember season 3, it kind of started getting dumb, like, they had some werewolf guy who and I was really not into that. So by mid-season 3, I was already kinda checked out. I don't think I saw any of season 4. Maybe it got better, maybe it got worse, I don't know. Um, Another show where I really liked the mom, both physically and her character too was, entertaining for sure. Um, I thought Harper was, unique and interesting too. So we haven't talked about Selena Gomez yet as, Alex. I think she was good in her role as the sarcastic rebel type, you know? I don't really Yeah, I'm not gonna go there. I was gonna say maybe how do I put it delicately? I'm not really into Selena Gomez as far as who she is as a person. I shouldn't say that the who she appears to be, stories you've heard, like how she got a kidney transplant from a friend and still uh, you know, partied her ass off and stuff. I understand addiction's a bitch, but um I don't know, that doesn't sit well with me. And I've heard some other things over the years. And again, we don't know these people personally, so it could all be bullshit, but I feel like I've heard enough about her to conclusively say I don't really like her. But aside from that, we have one more show here, and I saved it for last intentionally, and it's so good, it's getting its own row. It is the best show here. Um, I don't know how many of you will disagree. I think a lot of people really like this show and this franchise in general. Here, they're only showing Total Drama Island, but um, we'll talk about action in World Tour too, because it's all kind of uh, the same thing. So I was obsessed with this show as a kid, and I swear I rewatched Total Drama Island, at least the first season, like every year, like all the time. Um, And then so I will say I don't think action's as strong. World Tour made a nice little comeback too. We all know about the disaster that was All Stars. I mean, and even then, I didn't completely hate it. Yes, the whole mouth thing is like really dumb. I don't hate Zoe though. Um, but anyways, Total Drama Island is definitely the best one. It feels the most adult and mature, and like anyone can watch it. World Tour kind of gained that back as well. Um, the the creativity in the show is incredible, just with all the unique personalities that are based on stereotypes, but they all became so complex and had so much depth. I mean, Heather's arc is one of the greatest in that I've seen in television. Her transformation from bad to good. It sounds simple on the surface, but if you see the show, there's a lot of things that uh, I wouldn't say she's a great person by the end, but she definitely comes out of it better than she started. And there's so many iconic characters here: Gwen, Duncan, Courtney, Owen, Harold even came into his own. I always really liked Bridget, um, Izzy. There's a ton of great characters here, and then there's Chris McLean, who's the classic narcissist. So there's just so many different personality types, all meshing with each other. The interactions are pretty captivating, and every character has such unique dynamics between them. There's so many rivalries, and then the challenges, especially early on, were so creative. There's so many memorable challenges, like the dodgeball one. I think might be number one for me. Um, so yeah, there was always different twists and turns, and there's definitely a drama element there, and the anticipation of seeing who's going to be eliminated every week is definitely really intriguing. And yeah, there's just I mean the whole element of like alliances being formed and like friendships being tested, and you just never know which way things are going to turn, and that's what I liked about it. Um, so yeah, Total Drama Island's basically flawless to me. Total Drama Action kind of fell off a little bit. There wasn't as many contestants. There was a lot of dead time, too many non-elimination episodes, and I mean Beth going that far in the competition was a joke, but I guess that's kind of a minor thing. Uh, and then World Tour made a really nice comeback. There's a few things I didn't like about that. The whole character of Sierra, oh my god, why? Why? And then the musical numbers was really unnecessary for the most part. It didn't have to be every episode. The only time, well, there were a few, but the time it was the most effective was when Heather and Alejandro sang that song, "This Is How We Will End It." That was their whole rivalry slash friendship slash, well, not really friendship, but we would say romance was masterfully done. So this is a franchise where it could still be going on to this day. I know there's a new like Total Drama. They didn't do enough with the main cast. I mean, they just abandoned ship after World Tour. Yeah, they brought back a few contestants for All Stars, but we all know what a wasted opportunity that was. Even though I don't think I hate it as much as some people out there, but um, really makes me sad too that there was this YouTube series called Total Drama Reunion that a lot of people put hard work into and stuff, and it was taken down immediately after the first episode. Thankfully, the first episode still exists, but you know, te- the not Teletoon. Teletoon's just the network, but whatever the company is that makes Total Drama, they were beaten to the punch. They probably wanted to do something like that and make a show about the cast 10 years later. I think something like that would be cool, but I don't know if that's tarnished now because of that. It's too bad. And then don't even get me started on Total Drama Rama. I don't know what they were thinking there. Um, so yeah, that pretty much concludes the list. There's definitely a few things missing here, unfortunately, but this is interesting. This is something good to know for next time. I can add additional images. Huh. Okay. That helps. Wish I knew that sooner. Because I would have put Hannah Montana in here. Alright, yeah, so this is Total Drama Stands Alone. This is all S tier. We only have one A tier. B's, bunch of C's, D's, F. Suck. This is the worst fucking show ever. And then these are all shows I either haven't seen or don't know enough about. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. Let me know what you think of my ranking, what you would change, what shows stood out to you as a kid if you grew up during this time. This is a very specific time frame, but it was like I was most into Disney and Nick and Cartoon Network from earliest I can remember is probably like 2006. That's when I vividly remember um, watching it. So I missed like Lizzie McGuire and all that stuff. And by 2011, mid 2011, I was like completely done for the most part. So that's a good 5-year period where I was, really enjoying these shows. And I would say the peak of that was really like 2008, 2009. I was glued to the TV for a lot of this. Matter of fact, sometimes I still like will go on YouTube and just check out for nostalgia purposes, like commercials from that time, and it really brings you back. It was definitely good times. It was definitely a simpler time. It was cool, right? Because there was the internet, but it wasn't as like dominant in our world as it is now. So, um, there's definitely kind of an innocence those days compared to now, or at least maybe as a child, it felt that way. Um, So yeah, those are my favorite late 2000s, early 2010s child shows. Um, I'm kind of having fun with this. I might even make another tier list tonight. We will see what happens. But either way, I am the List Pro, and I will see you guys on the next one.